G'day listeners, welcome to Bar Karate, the sailing podcast. It's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors. But of course, I have to share the microphone with my two idiot mates. First off, Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, exalted one.
Back to idiots, are we?
I had a whole thing.
He forgot.
No, I had a whole thing lined up. And what I realised was I forgot to even introduce myself at the start. I've literally just come flying in.
Literally, I was watching you think he doesn't even have to read it now, and you just completely stuffed it up.
Anyway, who's that guy? Who's the third guy talking?
Yeah.
He hasn't been introduced yet.
He had a voice that could make a Wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Boss.
Oh yeah, here I am.
Well, I beep it.
No, it's all good. I just like I like to be changed up a bit. You know, it's fun.
I was going to call you.
Keep us on our toes, don't you?
I was going to go. I'm Jordan Spencer. It's that time of the week. We've got to hang out with some really cool people. Blah blah blah. And I was going to say, and two random dudes I met at the chess club.
Oh, mate. You know how close to home that is? I just went to Kmart and brought the kids a chessboard.
Oh, there you go.
And I was just reading through the instructions. Hey, boys, been a busy week.
Oh, huge week.
And apologies out there to the, we got accused whether we were a sailing podcast or a cooking show due to some of the posts.
Let's be honest, there's more money in cooking shows.
Yeah. Oh, here. But just got to say, sometimes we kind of get on a bit of a theme and we talk things up a bit.
Yep.
And some of them, come into fruition.
Yep.
Others kind of drop off.
Yep.
Well, the offer of a brisket for anyone sailing past Adelaide came into fruition.
Yeah.
So
Finally a taker.
Finally a taker. I was fortunate enough, had Xavier stay over. Well, I'll let Xavier tell. We're going to get him on, but tell of his harrowing experience, what happened. But of gents like hitting the sunfish and injuring himself, that is nothing compared to the rest. Like cargo ship coming past. Imagine this. It's about 8 meter swells. You're getting dragged alongside the cargo ship in a little 21 footer, and you can see the ship's prop coming out of the water. Scary shit.
Scene from a Bond movie.
So grabbed Xavier, gave him a call, grabbed him Tuesday morning, brought him to my joint, got the brisket on, had a couple of beers, as one would, liquid Himalayas, and we had a grand old night, to tell you the honest truth.
Oh, good.
Bit of Jinko, bit of Monopoly.
Well, Jenga. We played Jenga with the kids. Yeah. And then I realised he's much closer to my kid's age than he is even to my age. And I'm the old bastard.
But son, good to see you.
That enthusiasm that he puts across when we interview him, that's in spades face to face. So in all of that, we could still see where the boat was. Wednesday, he jumped on a plane, flew to Lincoln, jumped on a prawn trawler. They went out, retrieved the boat, got it back to the center of the universe, as some people call it, in pretty rough state, I must say. She's got a few holes in it, lost its rig.
It did lose its rig.
Well, I think maybe due to towing, actually.
Yeah, sure.
Because towing off of the rig. That's my theory, but we'll let Zave kind of update us. But yeah, he's currently in Port Lincoln being looked after by all the locals, and I'm sure there's plenty of fishermen telling him to never, ever go into the Great Australian Bight at this time of year.
Yeah. I hear you.
So, we'll get Zave on to give us like his actual hand-to-hand take on it all. But, been a busy week, boys.
Very cool. Cool.
Busy.
Shall we bring in our guest?
Well, he's busy. He's bloody busy.
He's busy.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Good man.
Yeah.
Talk about busy. This is the busy personified.
So we had to cut Paul Eldrid off last week because we wanted to get to Lee and talk about what was going on with Zave. So we said we'll bring him back because one thing was clearly evident is Paul's a good storyteller and did some interesting things. If you missed it, he was talking about how he started designing sails as a kid, and then trashing mum's sewing machine as he started making them, and
Dad took him down the local op shop and bought him one.
Yep, and then the Italian team, all that stuff with the Italian team in the America's Cup in '87, and then and we just got to how he'd been appointed director of.
I thought the funniest part, sorry Jay, was where he actually got on the boat with Dennis Conner, and we had a bit of a laugh and joke about how he told them what they needed to do with the sails.
Yeah, no, all very cool. So, and now, when we left off, he just said, we were talking about how he's just taken over. Or he's been for a while now director of Australasia for One Sales. So. One big change, though, for him in the intervening week is he is now not in Australia. He's in Bali. So welcome back to the show, Mr. Paul Eldrid. Paul Eldrid, sorry about that interruption there, buddy. I really do apologise. Good to see you've used that time well, though, mate. You've gone from your office to... Where are you?
Yeah, Jordan, I'm in Bali at the moment. So, mate, it's blue sky and warm seas and cold beers here at the moment.
Congratulations, you're a smart man.
Bintang.
Cold bintang in the glass. Yeah.
From memory, episode 12 is actually how we developed our. You'll see a similarity between our logo and the Bintang logo.
Oh yeah,
Paul, while you're there.
It's true. Quite like
and
that.
it is not a coincidence. It is not a coincidence. Let me tell you that.
On the can, yeah. Especially when you see the can, mate. All right, so continuing on, BP, you got interrupted.
Well, I did get interrupted quite rudely, actually, and abruptly, but I got over it. It took me a couple of days. But hey, listen, fun fact: did you know Perth to Bali is 2,617 kilometres? Sydney to Bali is 4,641 kilometres.
Right.
And Perth to Sydney.
How about Perth to Sydney?
Perth to Sydney is 4,000 kilometres.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
So
with
basically, you're in northern Australia.
Yeah. Yeah. It's closer to go to for you, Paul, to go to Bali than it is to come to Sydney.
Now I'm with
you. That's an interesting thing you bring up there, because Perth is actually, it's not a bad spot if you're going to be sort of running like an Australasian sort of outfit, because you're the same. If you get a protractor out and you scribe it around, you're kind of within 4 hours of just about everywhere. Like I can get to Singapore in 4 hours. I can get to Indonesia, or I can get to Malaysia or Sydney or
Antarctica.
I get a lot of places in 4 hours.
I get where this is going. I get where this is going. Yeah, I'm in the center of the world. The sun comes up around us. Yeah.
No, not really, but it just works out conveniently for me. And I know it looks beautiful. You blokes are looking at me in the background here, and you can see the sandy beach and the blue water and the waves breaking and all that stuff. But, you believe it or not, there are some cruising boats up this way, and we do have a lot of clients up this way. So someone's got to do it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well,
so what are you saying? You're on a business trip?
Totally.
All right, ATO, do not watch the YouTube version of this, please. ATO, do not watch.
Sorry to throw you there a little bit, Jordan and guys, but that was just something I wanted to add in there, because it is an interesting fact about the size of Australia and where he is compared to us. But when we did have to leave the other day, I was going to go technical, and I was going to go down the path of the materials and how materials have changed over the years. When if you look back to the ins of 3DL, D4, and those original sort of membrane products, and then it went to 3DI, obviously, with the molding sales, which was all the rage. And there's an element of that still around. But now we're seeing these super awesome products come in that are off the roll and be able to create sales. Like a standard type of sale out of these materials. Is that something that has really increased the level of technology in the industry of late?
I think if you just rewind back a little bit, there was a race on, probably 10 years ago. It's like, the thing, the evils in all sale material is the film and the glue.
Yeah.
The film breaks down and it shrinks and it cracks, and you see everyone with old Mylar sales all burning around with like sticky patch quilt, keeping the whole thing, keeping the air from blowing through it. And then there was the glue. And, the glue is heavy. So film and glue weigh a lot. When you look at the fiber content in the sail, the fiber's like nothing. But the film and the glue weighs everything. So there was a huge effort put into how do we remove the film and the glue from it. And a couple of companies went in different directions in trying to achieve that. And One Sails went with their 4T product, which they developed in cross polymerization. So the sails are still built on a full size mold. But there's basically a dry layup that then gets vacuum bagged and heated and gets pulled off the mold once it's cured. I can't say too much about the process, but having been at the factory, it's pretty impressive. And the product itself is like incredibly robust. And you're not carrying around the film weights. And even, we've done comparisons against other meat market leaders, and we're constantly coming in like lighter for the same square meter of product. Some have got their advantages and disadvantages for the existing panelled membrane makers like Quantum and Doyle, where they're making flat panels and joining them together to get their shapes. Those guys have just done the same thing. They've done everything they can to eliminate the film and the glue out, and so they're working with different surfaces and different gluing techniques. But the One Sails guys, I must admit, they've done an amazing job with their tech, and they're pretty passionate about it, and they've gotten very good at it. And I think our membrane products stack up against some of the best in the world. Added to the fact that, like I said before, that ours is one of the only products that's actually totally recyclable. And whilst the recycling of those products is currently only available in Europe, we've started testing the recyclability of our product here in Australia, and it's showing some very good signs. And if this works, sails that get recycled from our 4T material could before too long actually be used for pipes, like for plumbing pipes and underwater sewage and all that sort of stuff. So there's quite an amazing push forwards, and not in terms of the benefits of the tech, but also there's the limiting environmental impact, and which is thinking it's becoming more prevalent to everyone. It's becoming more of a priority, and we're seeing that at the voting polls, and we're seeing it with the way that people are buying their products these days. And this is just another example that it's quite impressive, the technology.
So just give us a little background into One Sail. Italian based, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're Italian. They are Italian based. There was a bunch of the guys that were once involved in the UK group, and then they have a difference of opinion, and a bunch of them sort of decided to go their own way, and they did that, forming the one group. And the one thing that when they went off on their own and developed that tech, and developed this company, there were only like 8 or so lofts that were the embryo of One Sails, and now there's like 54 or 56 around the world. So, and that's quite impressive after only 11 or 12 years.
Absolutely.
But when they did the move away and went with their own brand, not only did they say, well, we can always do our traditional sail making methods, but if we could have one product, what would it be? And they sort of said, let's wipe the slate clean and think about let's reverse engineer an outcome, and that's where they came up with the whole filmless, no film, no glue, no all this, and the potential to be recyclable. And so the dream started from day one with those guys, and we're still here today and still growing.
So Jordan, you might remember when we were in Genoa, we had Dede De Luca. Is that his name? So CEO.
That is Dede. He's the CEO.
Yeah, Dede.
Yep.
He, who I was fortunate enough to sail with like 20 odd years ago on the Italian circuit, who said to me after that little conference that we did about sustainability and stuff, about this whole fact about the recycling of sails, which was a complete blew everyone's mind.
Yep.
And now we're seeing it come into fruition. So
We're just touching base on it. Can you explain a little bit to us about the processes involved in that? Because, it's something that people would be very interested in, I think.
The process about the recycling is because everything's is cross polymerized when it's made, and all the core fibers of the UHMPE family, they can be broken down.
Yeah, right.
And it's very easy to remove any other external parts from that. But when the base of it is a thermoplastic and HMPE fiber, it's very easy to extract those things. So basically, everything just gets crushed by massive crushing machines, the same way as they crush metal for recycling until it comes down into like little squares, and then it gets further processed, and then it gets heated at high temperature until it becomes a paste. So in the end, you end up with a whole bunch of little peanut-sized balls of the plastic. Right. It's a very high-quality plastic.
Talk about Jordan like that.
I was waiting for that one. I was who's doing it first.
It can be injection mold. It can be, there's a million different purposes for it. And we've already got products.
Sorry, yeah.
We've already got
a specific factory that does that, or it's not a one sales factory. It's a specific industry factory that does all sorts of recycling. Yeah. Okay.
We're actually working with waste management and recycling companies to do this, and there you go. And a lot of them, one of them in particular, is in the game of actually manufacturing drain pipes and waste pipes and things like that. But they've also got a recycling division. So we're basically working with them on how much money per kilo they would, if we can recycle this a sale, and they can use it to create waste drains and plumbing stuff and all that other stuff that you'd normally buy in a Bunnings or whatever, or they can use it to make their own to scale for their own drainage systems. Then what they'd be prepared to pay us, and then that would allow us to do is to allow to go back to the end user and say, when your sales are at the end of their life cycle, bring them into us and we'll trade them in at X dollars a kilo, knowing we're going to get that money back. And then they trade their sales to us. They get a discount on their new sales, and they get recycled and put to use into something useful.
So what you're saying, Paul, is there's an incentive for you to make the sales heavier.
There's one thing.
No, of course not.
There's one thing that'll never change. There's one thing that'll never change, and that'll be trying to make it as light and as strong and as fast as you possibly can.
100%.
So from that perspective, when we're talking about this material stuff, right? There's listeners out there that are sailing yachts and listeners out there sailing dinghies and so forth, and I know one sales is sort of I think in the Opti world, they're the sail of choice, I think, from memory. But this technology that you're talking about, does that flow right through down to dinghy size, or, does it go up to super yachts? Like where does it sort of cut off? Like if you're thinking?
The effectiveness at the moment from both from the purest sail perspective in terms of design and what we can build the product into, and an affordability scale. At the moment, sort of, the bigger sports boats at 6.5 meters is about as small as we go with the tech right now.
Yep.
But as you know, we're all sitting here, 10 years ago, we never did anything under 50 feet. And now we're doing it every day for 30 and 35 footers. 10 years time, we'll be sitting here and then we'll be doing it with other stuff. It's just the trickle down of tech.
Yep. Yep. So for the listener, like one of the skill sets of being successful as a sailor is to really understand your rig and your sails. You're building your own sails. You're spending, as you said on the part one of this, how many hours a week races you're doing and sailing. If somebody's coming into a sailmaker, right, how should they approach that conversation? So say I was a fin sailor and I wanted to be able to go upwind as fast as everyone without hiking and go downwind as fast as anybody else without having a pump. How do I get that from a sailmaker?
You can't. You need to go and speak to your gym instructor, mate.
That was a nice setup for you, wasn't it?
What?
Yeah, you've answered that more than once, though, I reckon.
Mate, you need to go back in time and speak to Bernie and Blackers and some of those blokes.
Yeah.
Who reckon that if they could just keep their legs straight for an extra 10 seconds than the bloke next to them. But in all honesty, that the Finn is a good example of a really technical boat in that you have to be on top of the mast and the bend and what spars you use and if they're suitable to your weight, and it's a very technical thing. But having said that, we kind of had that discussion with just about all of our customers, irrespective, because the amount of even though we've got this everyone's got like quite amazing design software these days, and we're using the best stuff that you can get in the world that allows us to do all sorts of incredible things. But if the user input's no good, then it's just rubbish anyway. So, and this is where it's great, but having a team around us that we can take I'm teaching the young guys, even though stuff comes off the plotter or the cutter or the membranes come out of a box and they've got to finish it, they're still measuring mast bends and luff curves and understanding, when we do our recut stuff, which is also really important because we do so much recuts and dinghy stuff at high performance level, have done all our lives. But then when we're recutting big boat stuff, which is also something that's completely normal to do, some people, some of the people that are around these days, they just don't have the skills or the knowledge to be able to do that. So it's awesome to have a loft with young guys that actually understand what's going on, and they can, they can do that sort of stuff. And you know what? It makes them so much stronger on board the boat. Makes them great trimmers, makes them good on the rig setups, and it also, gives them a good eye for we're sort of at 100% of where this sail needs to be. And if we wanted to do something that I can't make it do, we'd have to recut it.
Yep. So if you were, you're a young lad listening or young lass listening, is the world of sail making still rewarding out there? Because a lot of the stuff is manufactured elsewhere. I mean, I know your loft is still manufacturing, but some places, is the pathway in sail making still worthwhile, or what's it like for a young fella or young lass?
Well, I'll give you as an example, I got a third year apprentice, and he only just started his apprenticeship and was less than a year in when we had a boat and Fast 40 come in from the UK, and the owner reached out to me and sort of said, look, this is the boat we got, this is what I want to do, and whatever. And when he sort of said, would you be interested in taking on the sail program for the boat? And I said, yeah, I would. And I said, but I'd like to plant the junior on there and get the apprentice involved. And so he got, young Will got involved, and I've been on the boat, but I've been able to teach him and show him stuff firsthand to add strength to the team. And then because he lives and breathes it, he's now adding value back to the team.
Absolutely.
And then he ends up doing the whole East Coast campaign with us, and ends up doing a Hobart, which we won our division.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So
and was nearly
19 years of age, done his first 19, done his first Hobart, and he's won his division on a Grand Prix sled that's been ripping down there underwater at doing 20-25 knots,
Underwater.
All that work he did on the upwind sails has gone well.
What's that all about, Paul? But it's true what you're saying.
Funny because he was, but it's also important for them to be part of that whole process. And, the one thing that we did been doing with a lot of these programs is really strengthening the whole downwind package when you're offshore, because inshore versus offshore is just completely different kettle of fish. And it's good for these young guys because when they're in the loft and they're building it, whatever, they sort of they know what they're building, and they kind of know where it's supposed to fit in the whole wind range and the angles. But it's not until they're out there and then you're actually setting the thing up and then you get ripped backwards with whiplash and the boat takes off, you actually understand what it's all about.
Yeah, no, that.
And so
That's a super important point, and I've said it to a bunch of different boat builders that I've gone to or been involved with, and I've promoted to them, like, just go sailing instead of laminating that jib track beam in. Go out there and see actually what it does as well, to understand the loads that it sees and to really see how it works. So, but sail making it's a bit more visual from that point of view, but also with having the young fella on board, the inspiration that gives to the other guys as well, because every time he steps on, he has more knowledge. He knows what's going on. He knows exactly what sail to put up. It's that, well, sailmakers is how pro sailing started.
It originated. I was going to say that it definitely comes hand in hand, and I think that's a good sort of response to your question about pathways, Jay. Is that sail making is a good way for you to enhance your own sailing, goals.
Yeah, I agree. And the funny thing is your first intro might be onto the boat as a pro sailor, as the sailmaker who's just supplied an inventory for XYZ. And I'll never forget, like, I did some racing in the US when I was younger, and and I was doing some stuff on Shambok. And so I did the Fort Lauderdale race, and I did the Pineapple Cup, and we won the Pineapple Cup. And we went down to Key West, and we're doing Key West Race Week. And this is when that was in the real early era of form stability, high performance boats, when the 52s had just started to throw their spinnaker poles away and go to true asymmetrics and that sort of thing. And in ocean racing, we had our time on most of the 52s, and it was awesome. And then
another bintang set.
No, sorry. So when we started doing windward leeward racing, we were always like just that little click slower. So only a tenth slower upwind, which meant we're always trying to find a clear lane. But then we're always at bottom marks. We're always going around the mark. And if we did, and we had our time down on everyone downwind, but we kept going sideways on all the tight, the tight tacking and the tight mark roundings and all the tight stuff. We kept going sideways, and no matter how we trimmed or how we set the boat up or how we did anything, we struggled around the cans. And so at the end, it was just got on the phone to Jim Pugh and sort of said, Jim, you need to come for a sail. Oh, maybe Paul try this, maybe Paul try that. And I said, mate, you need to come and go for a sail with us, see what's going on. And so he came out and did a day racing with us. He said, yeah, you're right. I think we need to put a new rudder on it.
300 mil to the fin.
But that sort of stuff sets you up, and then you sail with other boats and other clients, and you think you got the sail package right, but suddenly you think there's other improvements that could be made to the boat or whatever, and so, but normally you're the first on the scene. I guess is what I'm saying. So, there's an enormous amount to learn, but you get the intro to the programs through being the sailmaker, I guess.
On the downside is that you go through the hard work of training up a young apprentice for 4 years, and he's got visions of being away and out of your hair as quickly as possible to go sail professionally around the world. You go.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what career choice people want to do, but there's also that point of, pro sailing is also a difficult game.
It is, yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to, they want to have a home, and they want to have a family, and they want to live a normal life. And it's just, one of my roles is to make sure I've got incentives for my team to be able to want to be around. And also, there's also some legacy planning there for the day that I need to step away. There's got to be something for it in those guys to make sure that they can go on and they can enjoy the fruits of their hard work and keep it all rolling.
I guess a mentor role almost is a good one. Something probably we didn't have much of. It was all sort of new for us all back then. It was like, let's go over here and do that. Let's go and do this. Let's go and do that. It's probably a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that mentoring needs to happen and needs to continue. And I think some of the junior sailors now, I know some of the yacht clubs and some of the other guys have got some good programs in place where they are mentoring, but I'm all the time I'm not stupid. I know I can't do this forever, and I can't keep doing a 600 mile downwind race on a 40-footer underwater. And now that I'm 50, and I can't do that forever. But I am, all the time surrounding myself with young guys and trying to pass that knowledge on as quickly as possible to try and upskill the next generation. And they're all part of the business and the way that everything flows, and they're all part of the social network. And I encourage them to take every opportunity that's in front of them.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, I'm interested. Being a designer of sails, how much interaction you would have, say, with the mast manufacturers? Like you or the riggers, for example, the person that's rigging that mast or designing the mast, or it even extends into boat design. Like, I mean, I'm focusing in on mast and rigging because that's the direct connection with sails. Do you sort of get into some of those manufacturers and try and understand their mast or what they've done, or it's just a column that bends at a certain bend and that's how you look at it? No, Geordie, like all the time. We, the 40 was a good example. Once the boat arrived from the UK and the owner said that he wanted to go offshore with it, it was like, well, we're going to have to do some work on the panels to cope with compression loads with furling sails and then different reef positions, and then we're going to have to reinforce a boom for different falls on where the clue loads were going to land. And so we straight away just got in the whole spars, and they did some re-engineering, sent us through a lamination package, and the mast was altered, back on the boat, ready to accept the offshore gear, within 3 months. But yes, I deal with these sorts of people all the time. It's really important to have that relationship, because a lot of it also, if we can get if we do go to the effort of getting good rig data, we can import that into our design software, and so then we can test different bends of what our anticipated runner loads are going to be. And then that in turn goes back into when we go past our CFD stage in our designs of doing the fluid dynamics, we then go in, to the FSI. So we get into the structural loads. And so as soon as you start to apply, different main sheet, different runner loads and different mast loads into the sail, it starts to distort in different ways, even down to the detail where we can actually choose different batten types and stiffnesses to see how the actual sail surface distorts around those. So typically we like to do 5 or 10 runs of FSI with our bigger projects and our Grand Prix projects to make sure that what we're actually making is the best that we can make. Yeah, so
like you go back. Oh, sorry,
I was just going to
go back into the old days. It was always a fight between the sail makers and the rigs. Too much bloody luff curve, or not enough luff curve, or straighten your mast out, or bend your mast more, or there was that fight. But these days with the power of computers, it's almost in sync, isn't it? A lot more in sync, and you work together. I mean, I found that with my little project that was almost the easiest part, to get the sail makers and the rig makers to come up with a perfect package.
Yeah, that's right. And and it's very important because sail makers, we're always the last on the scene. We're the last piece of the puzzle. And you don't want to have that. You don't want to have that discussion with the rigger or the mast builder or whatever. All that stuff has got to be done before. So
yes, correct.
But having said that, there's always different things that you do in the tune, and there's always little adjustments that need to be made. And I'll never forget, like even when Bertram was doing the Etchell Worlds many years ago in Fremantle, his mainsails were coming in his north Etchell mains were coming in the loft, and we're always doing little recuts for him and sorting them out. And it's those skills. There's something that and with my guys, I'm teaching them all the time. Those skills are so important, and they're very easily lost.
I remember, back in the Volvo days when you're allowed to recut a sail, seeing some guys, in the Amos Sports days, laying out the Code Zero putting the batten across it, marking out, cutting out. It was almost art.
Yeah.
In that sense. And then they go out, have a look at it, and I don't even know the terms. The hojo.
The moon pies.
Is that a thing?
Moon pies.
The moon pie.
The moon pies.
Got
to have moon pies.
The moon pie. Whatever it is, right? And then they go out and everyone's happy. And it's like, and he's like, I could see him put his eye down the batten and then he moves it this way, that way. And then all of a sudden it's hoisted again. Beautiful. That's the art.
Yeah, it's a huge point, actually.
And you can't do that on the computer.
No, you can't. You can't do recuts on the computer. And I mean, that's the other beautiful thing is that no matter how much marketing one brand does or does whatever, if you're building it in house and you understand what the outcome's got to be, and you can really see what how it's coming together. If there is anything that doesn't quite look right, it's dealt with then and there.
Yeah.
So you're never taking an unpicker to it later. It's always sorted out before it gets delivered.
And that's a huge point.
And that's it. And that's why, like, in all honesty, we build a lot of Grand Prix stuff for a lot of one sales lofts overseas. When it comes to their top, we do we focus pretty heavily on our top end product and the finishing of it and the building of it. And a lot of our one sales guys internationally respect us for our quality of detailing and our build process and everything. So yeah, we are pretty regularly sending Grand Prix sales to the to Europe and also recently some to the US as well.
Well, are we in danger of losing that art form, as Bicey referred to it as? I mean, is it something? Do you think that? I mean, obviously, Paul, you'd look at a sale and go, "Oh, it needs this, this, and this." I mean, are the kids getting that experience? Not relying on computers too much. Are we trying to get them out there to say, "Look, what do you see?"
Hang on, BP. Before you answer that, Paul, how did your beer fill up without you bloody going anywhere? What happened there? You got
That's
special.
magical, mate. That's absolutely magical.
It's barley. It's called barley, mate.
Yeah.
Barley.
Now, look. To answer BP's question, and it's a good one. The frightening thing as a trend that you're seeing right now is
everyone wants to be an influencer.
The demise of the local sale loft.
Yeah.
You are seeing more people who sell from a brochure than they unpack a box.
Mm-hmm.
And you would be alarmed at how many of them wouldn't know how to recut it if it wasn't right.
That's the point I was trying to make, is that we've got to try and make sure we don't lose that art form, because that is a skill.
The only way to sustain that, and I mean, that's why, I think as a business model, I've got 380 square meters I need to keep occupied, and with that 380 square meters, I know how many staff I need in it, how many square meters of sales we need to build, what we can't outsource, what we need to do, whatever. But if you're having to maintain a square meterage and all you're doing is unpacking boxes, that's a difficult business model.
Yeah,
and it's an even more difficult model to then justify having staff, because unless you're building a whole lot of canvas, but then if you're building a whole lot of canvas, it's not a huge incentive to keep the younger guys, because the younger guys, they want to be making the stuff that's awesome. They don't want to be doing they don't want to be doing the shit jobs, and it is the way that a lot of business models have gone these days, where it is just all coming out of boxes. There are, it is losing. Like, and I know that the young apprentice, like, there's only 2 places where you can do apprenticeships now for sail making and textile related stuff. One is in Queensland, the other is in Western Australia.
Yeah,
so
right.
Wow.
There's not even an incentive for anyone in New South Wales to have an apprentice. Because they have to do block placements, like they have to be there. So unless they're going to fly them to Queensland or WA to do that, that's not going to happen. So it is a bit of a dilemma.
Which is a dilemma, yeah.
And this new generation coming through, and that is why, again, like, I'm embracing it, and I've got some really good young guys, and they've got big futures in front of them, and I'm trying to give them as much knowledge as I possibly can, because without that next generation getting that, there'll be a handful of them that'll get it from going and working for a TP syndicate or from an AC syndicate or something, where they will be exposed to that level of stuff, but on a day-to-day basis, it's on decline.
I guess what we're saying is we just don't want to lose the Paul Eldrids of the world. We don't want to lose that person. We want to try and keep them.
Well, I think there's a skill set you've all forgotten to include into the local sailmaker skill set, and it's pretty obvious when you think about it. So you and I get on pretty well, Paul. We like each other's company. Mick Babbage.
Well, you both got red hair.
Yeah, we're both Kingers. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Mick Babbage, in Newcastle, just a sailmaker, fantastic bloke. Love hanging out with him. Dave Alexander from Alexander Sales in South Australia, my mates are local sailmakers. The guys I love spending time with are local sailmakers. And I just think, without Dave I wouldn't have got I wouldn't have done half as well as I've done, because he let me sit in his loft for hours and hours and hours and look at designs and argue and discuss. And, I'm sure it cost him a fortune just having me floating around annoying him. But, without Dave, I wouldn't have learnt half the shit I know. And I think every young sailor, I always, when I was coaching, I tried to take them down into the local loft just so they could get to know some of this stuff, So, yeah. I think local is
key. and that's the one thing we do, and we have the youth development squads from some of the local yacht clubs. They come past every year, and while they come in, we design a sail, then we put it on, we roll the material out, and then the cutter cuts it out, and we have the kids hands on, be part of the process, and we make a new opti sail or something like that, and we donate it to the yacht club for their training thing, whatever. But these young kids, 8, 9, 10, 11, to see that a sail actually, what goes into having it made.
Yep.
And it doesn't just come in a box with a made in Sri Lanka or China sticker on it. It's important for them to know, and important for them to understand the process. So pretty proud. And and every time we come in, it's not just the kids, the parents sort of say, do you mind if we come and tag along with this? And the next thing we've got 50 or 60 people in the damn sail off watching our sails made on a Saturday morning,
Oh, something for sale behind you there, Paul, if you're keen, mate.
Just have a quick look. What are we going to have? Some bread or something?
Is that pineapples? I don't know. What's on the head?
No, fireworks.
Fireworks.
Stand by. Wait till it gets dark.
Mate, they're knives.
Fortunately, we're on a computer, so we're all good from that regard.
Yeah.
I'm interested, mate, when we, as a designer, right, you've grown up thinking about sail shapes and stuff like that your whole life, right? I wonder, does that translate when you look at boats? Do you ever think about boat design, and you ever look at boats and analyse them and wonder, or?
Look, from time to time, but only like I only look at riding moment, weight, and all those basic elements, because form stability, because outside of that it's a little beyond me. But just to digress a little, but it all becomes so much part of the whole package and the equation. Like at the moment, we've just finished doing an analysis, and we're actually doing for the Fast 40, we're actually doing a 4-speed mainsail, what we've called it, because
wow, that sounds
in
cool.
Different parts of sailing, we've worked out that when we're triple-headed and nuking downwind, and in certain conditions, you can hang on to much bigger boats, but the gear changes. Even with like mainsail reefing, they make such massive differences to the performance of the boat that we've found. Sort of felt that we haven't had enough. The range between reefs has been too deep.
Yeah,
and we really wanted to go between, like doing gear changes in a car, first, second, third, fourth, and we want to be able to do that quite quickly, just to all the time increase the drag ratios, the balance of the boat, and to keep it ripping. And then with, as we've now with structured luff jibs and all this other tech that we're doing now, we're getting, we're only carrying 3 jibs on a boat. We're getting so much more range. We don't have to have a family of jibs. Therefore, we've taken 60 plus kilos of headsail weight off the boat. And then we get a jib that, a J15 that can go all the way up to sort of like 18 or 19 knots. And if you're at the top of the range, rather than do a jib change, you just drop down a gear on the mainsail and just keep yachting and yachting hard, because
100%
that compared to a jib change, especially if you look at a shorter race, like some of the blue water things on the East Coast and the West Coast, a 40, 50 mile race, you're going upwind, you cannot do a jib change. Too expensive IRC. Often the IRC number comes, the corrected factor comes down to like less than a minute.
Yep.
Can't afford to be doing jib changes. So we've analysed the whole scope of stuff and analysed also the boat. So for the upwind stuff, it's like, this is where we need to be in upwind mode. But then as we've discovered, like downwind mode, it's the same thing. It's like, how, if we build an A2 plus, what is the absolute top range of that? Because we actually, to do a sail change offshore, rather than get everyone up on deck and go through all that palaver, can we just go down a gear in the mainsail and just settle the boat down a little bit? And if it lasts for longer than an hour, then we need to look at something else. A lot of the sail design stuff is all being based on how the boat responds, and you're all, and also taking in the crew dynamic and your HR department and trying to make it so that it's something that you're not burning your guys out.
Oh, it's easy. Like furl a boom. Put another kind of rig up from the clue, the back of the boom to the top of the rig, and it's just wind her up and down. Piss.
I got to say, I was listening to that with absolute excitement, because it's one of the things I learned in the minis, and they do it heavily. Is they never change a spinnaker. You've got a medium. You've got a light, heavy, and a medium spinnaker. And obviously the light is for the light conditions, but generally it's medium sail, and you just change between reefs. So the second you can get into a first or second reef with your masthead spinnaker up, the boat just launches out of the water and never goes bow down. And it's insane how it works. And that's what is sort of been translated to offshore sailing a lot more now. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah. And it's what we found on the way to just the recent race to Exmouth. We had a 24 period where we actually held and even came into the 52 on a 42 footer. And all we did was we just hung on to everything we had, and we just kept changing gears between mainsail reefs. That's all we did. We just kept changing gears to keep the hull under the rig. And but from the Hobart and from that, we still thought, in an ideal world, where would we want to be? And they'd want to be smaller gear changes, but more of them. And so that's what, that's the design process.
So,
we've just gone
so
through.
what are you saying? Instead of 2 reefs, you got 4 reefs, kind of down that line.
If we're going to
in an ideal world,
in an ideal world, if we're going to a Cat 2 or Cat 1 mainsail, where the third reef is at 50%, we'd now go to a fourth reef at 50%. So we didn't have to carry a trysail.
Yeah, copy. Yep.
And we'd stagger everything. And then in terms of the design process, we're trying to balance out the area on the back of the boat with how much area we got at the front of the boat with, a Joe or flying jib, whatever you want to call it, and a J4 and a jib staysail. And if you can balance those things out where there's not a lot of muscle that needs to be used to drive the boat, then you keep the crew fresher. They're more accurate with everything they do, and that's and also the same when we're downwind. Once the boat's overcooked and you have to start using massive amounts of line speed, that's where you start losing your guys.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then it's like, how many more miles have we got? Because we got 400 miles left, and we're already putting protein shots into these guys. Then it's like 5 meters of line speed, on a 45 or footer or so, it's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
And so there's no, and in digressing from that, there's no secret to why, you see these new 52s. I mean, you see Warrior 1 Caro come out the Hobart last time, all of a sudden, they've got a have increased their line speed and their horsepower. Usually, I've got a third pedestal on them now.
Yep.
Compared to a normal 52, though, too.
One of the things about all this discussion, now that I'm old and all I think about is going cruising, is that all this the way we've advanced in the thought process of how to set up your boats translates really, really well to that world. When I go cruising, it's going to be me and my wife, and I don't want her going up on the bow, and so my cruising boat's going to have 4 furled up sails on the bow, furled kite, bloody screecher, jib, and then a little staysail sort of thing, and I can control and everything. Just boom, wind hit coming, furl it away, boom. And, I'll be still smoking across the ocean at 20 knots. That's my plan, it's without having to risk anyone's life or anyone's happiness, it's still, and not spill my beer.
Yep.
And
absolutely, Geordie. And, one of the biggest things that I think was pretty evident from the last Hobart was you have a look at these new generation 52s, like being the Warrior 1 and the Caro. In the first 24 hours of racing, when the breeze was done, the breeze was sort of like 15 to 20 knots. Like they were gone. They were all over the old limit, and the old 60 footers. They were all over them.
15, 20. That's their natural habitat. Let's say.
Correct. It's their natural habitat.
But what I'm saying,
15
20
to
plus.
20, they're all over it. But then you have a look at then take a look back in Division 2, and then have a look what we did on Enterprise to the other faster boats in our division, being Hutspar, and and they're a tough bunch of guys, right?
Yep.
But you have a look at what those generations, like we left those boats for dead in the 15 to 20, and both generations, like that generation of 52 and our generation of the 42 was probably the most cocked in the 15 to 20 knots, whatever. But then suddenly on the second day,
the second day is when you shot.
It was like 20 to 25 and got to 30, right? And all of a sudden the delta just sort of went, shh, and it was evens again, right? And then it came down to who's the hardest nut.
No, I'm out.
No, but we were watching that, and that was the day that you guys started really getting in there, and you could see that the 52s were starting to. Well, they would have been, because we've all been on a 52 in those conditions. It's hard bloody work, and to sail them properly, it's hard work. But if you've got your trim and rig right, you can make gains, as you say.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly right.
How cool sailing, huh? All this banter about this discussion around all this sort of stuff.
What a discussion, eh? Bryce's having a think. Got the
So,
old chin rub going on.
I think for a lot of listeners, just trying to understand the sort of high-tech world of it, and where the thought process is going and all that knowledge is really critical, and I think a lot of people would have picked up a lot of things just from this discussion. But I'm just interested, if you're sort of average intermediate sailor, what do you reckon the best thing you can do? This is your coaching hat. The best thing you can do to improve?
The best thing that anyone can ever do to get better at sailing is to do more sailing.
Go sailing.
And I think
bum on the
the
gunnel.
other thing is like bum on the gunnel. That's the first thing. But the other thing that's also, I don't want to sound like a grumpy old bastard here either, but there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of young guys too that actually they want to have a go. It's funny. I won't name names, but I was having a chat in the main street of Cowes only like 4 or 5 years ago or something with a mate of mine who was over there doing some stuff with a 52 program. And he sort of echoed the same things as what I was saying. He was like, it's always difficult to get the right people. And the young guys are always hassling, I want to go for a sail. I wanted this. I wanted that. How can I get on the boat? And, can you give us a ride? And what's the program? And well, let's start by meeting the container at 7:30 in the morning, and you can take all these spinnakers out of here and you can dry them, and then you can repack them and re-zip them and take them over the boat. And
so basically what you're saying, stop being a precious little princess.
Yeah.
Do some yards, like with any of the programs I run, anyone that turns up on time or or goes that extra mile, like I'll have them on the boat any day. And even if they're not quite as good as the hero who thinks they're above and they want to go straight into the afterguard at the age, 21. I'll always take the person who turns up early and does the hard yards, because you know that if they're that dedicated and they want it that much, that they'll learn as quickly as they can. And so all I can say to anyone who wants to have a go is, A, surround yourself with good people, and B, keep your ear and be prepared to go the extra mile. And you'll probably get opportunities that would never not open up to you.
I'd like to have a dollar how many times we've said it, Bicey. Pick up a broom.
And don't be a dickhead.
Yeah, don't be a dickhead.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. I can't believe we still got you here, Jordan.
Never picked up a broom in his life, and you're a dickhead.
Oh,
No, not at all.
No, I'm only joking.
All right.
We love you. You know that.
no, I'm all good, boys. I'm used to it. Paul, with you, you come from a dinghy background. What's the best dinghy in the world?
Oh, good question.
Oh, mate, this is going to cause a riot.
Oh, well, this is just your answer for you, buddy.
Starts with an R, ends with a W.
Go with the rainbow.
I think that it depends the sort of sailing you want to do. If you're a purist, the laser would have to be it.
Yeah,
because it's probably the purest boat that exists. No, I don't think we could all disagree on that for sure. I think if you're a flat chat development guy, you'd have to be looking towards the International 14 or something like that. Even the 18s to an extent, but they've sort of gone back to more one design type hulls. But an I-14 is pretty open. From a purist and still a technical perspective thing, it's pretty hard beat to go past a 470 or on that point, probably the 505 as well. 420, 470, 505.
Clearly,
I'll put them all together in that.
How much Sharpie sailing have you done, Paul?
Yeah, the only Sharpie sailing I did, actually, funnily enough, was when Huck Scott was still alive, and he had someone do a restoration on his old timber
heavyweight
Sharpie boat called Upyears, and it had been sitting in a shed for ages, and I was only 17 or something, 17, and Huck had been coaching me in my mirror, my 420, and he just had this restoration done, and he actually. And he said, like, my old boats just had a restoration done, and nothing would make me prouder is if you could go out and race it in the Sharpie stakes.
Oh, wow.
And I said, okay, Huck, if that's what makes you happy, we'll go and do that, but, we're not going to be competitive in the old girl and whatever. And he said, it doesn't matter. It just, bring a tear to my eye and, whatever. So he got 3 of his favorite young blokes and threw us all in the boat together. And I said, okay, boys, look, let's just go out and let's just have a bit of fun and do it for Huck. So we went out in the first race and, we're sort of preparing for the start. And so we get off the line. We have a blinder, absolute blinder of a start. Then come off the left-hand side of the. So we're first around the top mark in this old timber thing. And I was like, boys, we are so on fire. We had these old Dacron sails, I think they cane battens and shit in them.
Wow.
And it was only at that point, I actually, when we went around the top mark, I thought we actually could do okay here. But then as soon as we started going down, we got absolutely
to the bottom mark.
Yeah. But we were pretty competitive, and that was nice. That's the only Sharpie sailing I've done.
Oh, I love it. It's good, though. It's a good discussion and, a lot of fun. So what about, same question, keelboat, mate. Which one do you love the most, or which boat have you not sailed that you'd like to have a go on?
Oh, geez. Good question. Look, if I'm honest, I think these days most of the Grand Prix race boats are pretty good. Like, me and Scotty's old boat, the General Lee, we had some fun on that thing.
Yeah,
that was a ripper. And I'm wishing at the time we had the resources and the funds to do a Hobart, because I reckon if it was downwind, we would have been there with the Hutzpah boys having a hard crack.
Mm.
But we had some great results with that boat, and that was, I'll never forget. When that boat was first launched, and we worked. I worked really closely with Brett Baker-White on it.
Baker-White,
sorry,
correct. Baker-White,
well, it was a
right?
Baker-White 37.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. And I said to Brett, I said, look, I want to make it a foot long. I want to make it 300 longer than the original sister ship, the Alfresco, which is an awesome boat that I was involved with the owner and the project. And I said, I want to make it 300 longer. And he said, why do you want to do that? And I said, well, I think because when we put all the stuff to go offshore in it, it's going to sink on its waterline. So a little bit of extra length and a little bit more rocker inherited from that's going to be good. I think it'll make it a better boat upwind, but that's just my opinion. And he said, yeah, you're right in both those counts, but you're going to slow it down downwind. And I said, look, honestly, we put a pedestal on it, increase the line speed by threefold. And I said, I think we'll the down it'll pay the downwind speed back in spades. So we did that, and I'll never forget the first day. Like all the pictures came out on Sailing Anarchy and everything, and all the comments were, pedestal on a 37 foot. I've never seen anything more ridiculous in my life. And all this other stuff. It made, that was an awesome boat. It was an awesome offshore racing boat. We had a good time on that. And from then on, I've really only raced on performance, form stability, fast keelboats. And they're all so much fun. And I think predominantly because they're a lot like dinghies. The way you tune them, the way you race them, you can change your configuration and you can sail them. At the moment you get dinghy trimmers on and you start to drive them like a dinghy. They respond like a dinghy they're just 40, 50 foot, 470.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very cool. Hey, Bud, we're kind of out of time. I think we've taken enough from you, and you and Sarah got to go and have a bit of fun, I think. So
2.5 bin tanks.
2.5 bin tanks in.
2.5 bin tanks.
And I'm just waiting for that guy to walk up behind you and have that head scratcher thing and drop it over your scone and just start giving you a little head scratch.
Very good.
Yeah, boys. I've got to say this is a bit lovely up here.
Yeah. Well,
awesome, you enjoy it. You go on, enjoy it for the rest of the week.
Yeah,
we'll stay down here and we'll keep ourselves busy.
Awesome.
Might head on up.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, lads?
That's a pretty good idea. Why don't we
We'll do a
flyby.
Do a third
Part 3.
episode.
Part 3 live from.
Part 3 live from the beach again. This is fantastic.
I love
Then
it.
it'll be a real similar one to Squawk.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, good on you, Paul. Thanks for coming on, mate, and good luck with everything in the future, eh?
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me along. It's been a blast.
Cheers.
One problem with Paul Eldrid, you could sit there and talk to him for hours. It's just going to be a ton of fun.
Well, he could sit there and talk.
Kind of bar karate personified, isn't it?
It is.
Like,
it is.
It's just the perfect bar karate over a bintang. How good.
I think we'll
I
do
just
it.
love the people walking along in the background. I was waiting for something funny to happen, but
Yeah, I was waiting for that head scratcher thing to come down.
I think we'll end up doing a live show with Paul. Obviously, we have a lot of fun together, and he's a great storyteller. Interesting. Speaking of storytellers, one of our previous guests, Mr. Adrian Finglas, AIDS. I just saw AIDS as Arvo, and out of the blue, he told me about this 420 story where he was sailing. And Eldrid gave him some sails, rolled out sails. They were off the pace. Eldrid gave him the sails. Exactly the story that Paul told us the week before. And what Ade said, and Paul certainly didn't mention because Eldrid got second at that Worlds. What Ade said is on the last race, a French competitor was leading, French Worlds. It was the 50th anniversary of the 420s. And Eldrid was dominating the last race and would have won the Worlds, and they canned the race. And
anyone know why?
It was a French fishing boat got in the way. Anyway, but the point I was trying to get to is to recognise his talent because he's won a few world champs. On the podium, Ades was saying that the French guy that won the Worlds actually passed the World Championship trophy to Eldrid. So
Nice move. I'd
that
like
was
to
a
find
nice
out who
move.
that guy was.
Hey, yeah, we'll have to look it up. 50th anniversary, 420s, easy done.
We'll
But
look it
yeah,
up.
great man, super, super talented sailor if you ever get to go for a yacht with him. But yeah, cool. I really enjoyed that, and thanks for spending time with us, Mr. Eldrid. Other news, club events, boys. You guys got any club events that are popping into?
Yeah,
mind?
I've got one.
What? What's that? What's that?
The Finn Queensland States, was it?
No, that's
or-
been. This is upcoming events. We'll talk about that. In a
Upcoming.
yeah.
Oh, upcoming events.
Well, apart from the Fastnet, of course.
Yes.
7 days to go.
7 days till the Fastnet. Yes.
So who knows what's going to happen? I haven't started looking at the weather yet, but gone on what's happened. It's basically all dinghy race sailing, no wind. All big boat sailing, plenty of wind.
Plenty of wind. Yeah.
The GN600, the Gotland Run, like just absolutely cranking. So let's see where the Fastnet's going to end up.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. No, I'm excited.
Well,
I
they
think
had plenty of breeze in the Round Island race.
was there?
Yep.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Plenty of breeze.
Mm. Yeah, no, very cool. Very, very, very cool. So, yeah, for obviously every second year we do the Fastnet. And, last year I remember watching the start and it was just so windy. Remember how windy it was on the start and how, they have fleet after fleet after fleet taking off and boats crossing everywhere and it was just carnage.
It's gnarly getting out of the soul. And
Any X2s doing it?
No,
BP?
not this year. No. No.
Damn.
No, we're in a rebuild mode, a rephase. We're all over it.
A
We're having a good time.
rephase. A
Rephase.
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 Redoing the electricity on board, eh?
Yeah,
3 phase,
rephase.
single phase.
No, well, there's just so much going on. Anyway, that's
All right, well, let's move on to Jack Lloyd Listener Week. So Fastnet is our club event that's coming up, obviously, one of the major offshore events.
just a little.
They
event.
should get us over there and do a bit of work
Oh, yeah.
in Cows.
Yeah.
Bloody oath. They
It'll
should.
have to be early in the day, though.
Yeah. Nominations. First off, Tim Beaver sent us a message on Instagram where he looked at your brisket barbecue and he said it pretty impressive setup for a tinny. And I sort of didn't really click. And then when you look at the photo, it looks like the bow of a tinny with a grill perched on the front and you were cooking a brisket like you're out on your little fishing tinny. And
Well, not only looks, my friends, but, it's the real thing.
is it really?
The bar karate expert. No. Of course, she's tucked well under,
But
just close to the esky.
How good an idea
next
is
to the
that
red
for
brick wall.
tinny?
Yeah.
You could stick a little bloody brisket thing on there, or like a little cooker on the front of your tinny. That'd go real well once you're out there
Oh, yeah.
doing a bit of
Yeah.
fishing. Yeah,
Bit of fishing, bit of brisketing.
yeah. Just
all
keep
good.
the fuel at one
Yeah.
end and the hot bits at the other end, and you're good.
But we had plenty come in via the socials, just commenting and a whole bunch of different things this week. So plenty of
on the-
activity in that regard.
You sort of made the joke about we getting grief, but geez, people love the brisket, didn't they? They loved it. It was so popular. Loved it.
And just a little shout out actually to Damien from Crest Cup Meats, who I took him through this whole journey as well.
Yeah.
Told him about I'd be promising the briskets, and we've come into fruition. And of course, he knew the Xavier story. So next thing you know, no longer paying for a brisket.
Oh, I love
Oh,
it.
nice work.
On you. It's Damien at Crest Cut Meats in South Australia.
Yeah, just next door to Foodland. So just ask for the bar karate special when you go in. That'll
Henley
pay for
Beach,
all the
at
free
Henley
shit he's
Beach.
given me.
Yeah, is that the Henley Beach one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Foodland at Henley
Yeah.
Beach, right?
Good old Damo.
Yeah.
Beauty. Oh, well, that's cool. Very cool. Another one we did get was, this is a nice one, from Adrian Johnson. He sent us a messenger on Messenger. Cheers at barkarate.com is our favourite approach. I haven't even checked that email, though, boys. I've been busy all weekend, so I have a quick squiz to see if there's anything we missed.
No, we're all clear there.
Yeah. Send me your address for you guys. I'd love to send you some of our local brews. He's on Vancouver Island. I've got some really close friends on Vancouver Island. Lovely spot. It's one of the craft brewing capitals of Canada, playing with the idea of having either a local brew or to have as our official club beer, or possibly rotating tap beer, sort of beer of the month. We're 40 plus breweries just on the island. Wow.
Where's Canada? Is that near Canada?
Yeah, just right near Canada.
Just left of it.
Yeah. Provide ample selection fresh golden boat juice, but I'd love to have your opinion on them. Maybe we can even get a little bar karate special edition. Well, yeah, we're all down for that.
Now we're
Yeah.
talking. Now we're talking.
So
We're nailing the States and Canada.
yeah. Comex Bay Sailing Club, Comex, COMOX. Adrian's been sending us a few things, but that I want to send you some beers. That straight away, listener of the week.
I do have another nomination, boys. You don't know about this one, but our good friend, Mr. Jeffrey Betcher, owner of Secret Men's Business, SMB, currently doing a trip around the UK.
Yes.
And he was walking home from dinner one night and goes past the St. Mawes Yacht Club,
right,
which is kind of the south western tip within the UK. And Sue, his wife, said, "Oh, just go in." So walks in there. Next thing you know, he gets talking to the bar manager,
as he does,
John Howard. Funny name for an Australian.
Yeah.
Big fan of bar karate.
Is that right?
Next thing they got a conversation about bloody bar karate in the St. Mawes Yacht Club.
Wow.
So
Bet you'd be able to
shout out to John.
Yeah.
So
St. Mawes Yacht Club.
Yeah, Club of the Week, St. Mawes.
Club of the
Well
Week.
done.
I like that.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's a
that's
tie.
a new segment.
I'm going to say it's got to be a tie with Comex. So
Yeah,
Oh.
correct. Yeah.
But
It's a tie.
let's say this: we'll happily St. Mawes and Comex will happily come to both your clubs and have a drink.
100%.
Happily, we're more than happy to come and do that. We'd love to do that. All right, cool. That's some good.
I love where we're going. I love where we're going with this.
Yeah,
St. Mawes and
Travelling
Comex. Mate,
love it.
I like Club of the Week. It's a good idea.
It's a good idea.
It's hot time with Bice.
Right, gents. Couple of different topics today. We got results coming out of our yin yang with a whole bunch of stuff going on with the Transpac, with the test event going on.
TPs.
So there's the TPs. There's a lot in that regard. But before we get into the results, because that's kind of other news as well, is there's some new boats coming out. We see them. We repost them. We saw the new Massif come out, the 60. Then what do we see out of the Baltic stable? That bloody Baltic 111 with the foil assisted.
Yeah.
What do you think, gents? And then I'm going to trump both of those with a third party there.
I tell you what I think. I had a chat about this with you off. Sorry, Jay.
Go for
I
it,
had a
mate.
chat about this off air with Bicey about it. To me, it seems like it's we'll do this, and this, and we'll do that and that and that and then this and this and this, and then where am I going to park it? Oh, don't know. I haven't thought about that. You know what I mean? It's like this boat is massive. I mean, this is 100 whatever feet, and these foils are just. I mean, it's a weapon. I love it, but hold on.
yeah.
Where are you gonna put it? What are you gonna do with it?
Who cares where you're putting it?
Oh, who cares?
It's like
Yeah,
the
right.
111-foot day sailor.
It's
It's a glamour.
It's a glamour. It is a
I
glamour.
love
But
yachting. Just full of practicality.
it's a big boat, right? And all the foiling stuff, the whole thing. It's great because remember, we've crapped on about this about 3,000 times on the show.
Trickle down.
But when we did the ocean race design for when it was the Volvo Ocean Race to come up with a new design for that, the fastest foiling boat was 63 foot. Remember that came out in the model at 63 foot, and this thing's 111. So there's a lot of extra weight. But what they've done, man, they've just gone on a weight saving program. When you go through and look at the photos and all the work they've done, she's a beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, just from the industrialness,
Serious craftsmanship for sure.
Yeah. So Baltic yachts are doing all that, but
I think 38 ton it comes in at something like that, which is
38 ton for 100 footer. Not bad.
she's very light.
With
100,
with an element.
111
cruise.
footer with those things. Yeah, exactly.
111. Well, every foot over 30 is big, right?
Yeah, no, she's a glamour.
then-
Love her. Can't wait to
And then,
watch her.
gents, we see some great things coming out, but possibly this could be the greatest all year. Well, actually, since we've been doing the podcast,
Mhm.
Really?
someone's building a new rainbow.
No,
You guys wouldn't be part of the National Rainbow Sailors Association.
no.
But
No.
they seriously, they CNC cut the frames. They're building a rainbow. I'll be keeping a close eye on this. And if you guys don't want to listen to my weekly rainbow update, stiff shit, basically.
Anyhow, on with the show.
I edit the show, mate. She'll be.
No, but
be nice to me.
But seriously, as far as a lot of the stuff we've gone on about, setting something up in your shed, a few bits of ply and stuff like that, you probably don't get much simpler than a rainbow. So I'll be interested
we love the idea of building your own boat and going sailing, don't we? We
keep a close eye on this one.
Yep, cool.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Oh, wow. That's
all right, boys. Moving
nice.
over to some results. Transpac, beautiful race. Barn Door. We mentioned it. We had Justin Schaefer reverse cursed it with the Mod 70.
Yeah, go the reverse curse.
Which I think they got over Giovanni Soldini in the Maserati 70 by about 5 or 6 hours.
Yep.
So that was good. Argo, unfortunately, did not. They retired. Barn Door, which I've been fortunate enough to win, actually, back in the day on the Pyewacket, goes to Rio 100, which in 7.5 days, basically.
I think that thing's up for sale, actually.
Yeah, so the 100, good work to those guys. And then there's a whole bunch of
9
winners.
divisions.
I'm not going to read through them all, but just go check it out see who the winners are. But notably, one there, Div 3, Roy Disney on his Andrew 68, the Pyewacket.
He's sort of reverse cursing, isn't he? He's won it already. Now he's going to get the reverse curse when we get him on the show.
Correcto. So
what about a special mention just quickly there from Wings, the guys from Australia that made
guys from Oz?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Well done to those. Then, of course, TP52s, the Royal Cup in Menorca, first platoon. They were at top of the leaderboard this time last week when we recorded, but they took it out. Platoon Preveza Gladiator overall is Preveza, which are having sailing their asses off this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing very well. New kill, I think, this season. So that'd be interesting to find out a bit of technical info there. Then Platoon and then Quantum. So next major event, of course, is the Marseille test event. So I'm going to hand over to one of you blokes to take that little reins on and talk us through some highs and lows and who impressed us, who didn't impress us, and all those sorts of things.
Well,
and
I think it's a very
your
good
thoughts
group
are,
discussion because there's some common names there, but there's some new people starting to showing through. So, I mean, most notably from an Australian point of view is the men's Ilka, obviously.
Yep,
so
Wernie.
Matty Wern
gets up on top of the podium.
Yeah, gets over Michael Becker from the UK, and our old mate Pavlos is from Cyprus is still in there.
So Matty Wern ended up, like, he was behind Mike Beckett in going to the gold medal race, and everything fell Matty Wern's way in that gold medal race. So, and Mike dropped down. So, but that's the way it works in this field. So, yeah, and I think Matt was pretty open about that. He said, it's just a real shame because Mike was probably the better sailor this week, but he won the event. So, yep. And really, we love Anne-Marie Rindom, who came second in the Ilka sixes, but to see Marie Baumaster, she just keeps going and going and going.
Keeps going.
She's amazing. And I don't know Chiara Florana. No. Do you know her at anyone you boys?
No, we might touch base and have a chat with her, I reckon.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
It's a
Sarah
classic
Douglas
Italian name, isn't it?
Oh, it's just all
Chiara
Italian,
Benini Floriani.
Floriani. It's all Italian. We love
beautiful.
that.
It's a
beautiful name. And Sarah Douglas in for 5th, so good on her. She's in that top bunch.
Yeah,
nice effort. Moving on. There's lots going on.
Well, of course, notably Gray Morris, a 3rd in the
awesome effort
windsurfing
IQ foils.
He was sitting second quite comfortably the whole regatta, and it looks as though the last race didn't go exactly his way, but and ends up with 3rd. But congratulations, Gray.
As I said,
good
to you, we'll let him off. We'll let him off with this one.
good prep.
Nicolas Goyard and then Nicolas Renaud were first and second, so the Frenchman and the Italian.
So many divisions. How cool would it be to be at this event?
Yeah.
Mm.
Interesting. In the 49er FX, the standard there is super high. Like everyone's in with a shot of winning on that. Like, I mean, it's the same. All these boats are like that. But Adil van Aanholt and Annette Duits, the Netherlands team. So the Dutchies are on fire at the moment. They're very
They've got
strong.
some big names in there, haven't they?
They're a very strong nation.
Dutch and the French. They've got some good results from this regatta.
Yeah, well,
Olivia and Evie came in at 10th. They were also credible effort there.
Yep.
For their first test event.
But in the 49ers, that was the Dutch team as well. So Bart and Floris van der Werken and Bart Lambrew. And then French in second.
Were you just talking?
Yeah. But the interesting thing is, let's be slightly biased. The Aussie team hasn't gone as well as you'd hope, I think you'd say.
No, that would be a fair assumption. Do they have a Nations trophy?
I think they do. Yeah, but I mean, they announce it. But so basically, the Dutch or the French winning everything. Israeli won the Sharon Cantor won the women's windsurfing. Emma Wilson second from the UK, and then Sarah Wenikis. And Maddie Wern sort of. So you got the Israeli sailor in the windsurf, and Maddie Wern in the Ilka to break it up. There's still more sailing going on there, though.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. So plenty more to come, but it just means the Olympics is a year away.
Got a lot of work to do.
Oh, I had to knock back doing some work on the Olympics last year because I didn't want to go last time because I didn't want to go through all the quarantining thing, but I'm quite happy to go to France in Marseille and if if any of the media production crew listening in, you know who I'm talking to. Yeah, cool. That's it. What else?
Yep.
Oh, I think we've nailed it pretty well. I mean, what else has been going on? The Argian is a good one with the old girl getting up, taking the trifecta.
The Leopard.
The Leopard, yeah.
Had
a major refit, a bunch of weight taken out of it, and off she goes. Our mates from FAR have put in a lot of work there, and she's taken the Iron Honours, IRC, and whatever else it is, but awesome.
Mediterranean or the Aegean performance handicap system.
Yeah, whatever that is.
So, boys, I'll be honest, I'm pretty fired up. Fastnet. We'll do a bit of a talk about the Fastnet. We'll get. We haven't decided on our guests for next week. We've got a heap of them being interviewed this week, so got quite a few guests lined up, and I've got a list a mile long. It's getting out to quite a few months, but things always change. But so fired up about that. BP, if you want to pick on me, now's your chance.
Well,
everyone's either gone to sleep or stopped listening by now.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Most what am I going to pick on you about?
His sailing exploits in the last couple of days.
Went sailing for the first time in 10 years.
Well, this is the truth, and you were late to our appointment.
Yeah, and I'm not on my game. Oh, let's be honest.
No, you're not on your game. You completely faux pas at the start.
Yeah.
No, and then now you tell us you've gone sailing on a Final weekend.
I did the Queensland States, mate. So remember we talked it up because they have the long lunch. And they do 3 races in the morning Saturday, 3 races in the morning Sunday, and then they have the long lunch Saturday arvo and stuff, which is exactly what happened. And it's like...
How was the long lunch?
And was there no breeze, like as far as
pretty much
doing it for those reasons?
Yeah, so offshore breeze in the mornings at this time of year in Queensland, the westerlies come offshore.
And then it shut down.
And then it shuts down around 11 o'clock. So they thought... So we're all down there on the boat park around 6:30, and then rigging up, and sailing out, and So they plonked me in a fin. Couple of things. I have no idea how to change gears in a fin. Absolutely zero idea. They're going, when this is what's your leach tension? What's the gauge on your leach tension?
Oh, about 23, 24.
Yeah.
It's always 23.
Yeah. 14 far knuckles it was. Yeah, whatever, mate. I don't know. And then I'm turning downwind,
Did you decobbulate? Did you de-rig the the other parts?
The
all bits and
cobulator.
pieces? Yeah, the
I'll give you
cobulator.
some. I'll give you some tips, boys. First start, I absolutely nailed the start. Like favoured end, a boat length clear of everybody. Nailed the start. Zooming along, zooming upwind.
How easy is this?
This is so easy. I'm like fourth or fifth, I reckon. A couple of the real guns are just crossing in front of me, literally right in front of me. And I'm looking at sailing along. I'm going, this is pretty easy. Maybe I should put my centreboard all the way down. I'll just go, okay, I might do that. And then, but anyway.
No, listen, you're on the water. So you're on the water.
But then
on the water.
They've got these ocky straps that come off the bow, which you're supposed to attach to the boom to run the boom
keep
out.
her out, yeah.
Yeah, forgot to do that. Then they got some ocky straps that stop the centreboard going through the boat if you capsize. You forgot to do that.
We got that.
They got these chocks right at the mast, so you can adjust the mast basically.
Held in with an ocky strap.
Yeah, a little bit of ocky strap. Yeah, I forgot to put the ocky strap over it and lost a couple of chocks. Had to buy a new set of chocks.
Well, for starters, you're calling it an ocky strap. So you deserved to not hook the ocky strap up or the shock cord for that. Shock cord,
matter. Yeah. But anyway, but then just change your gears. Like I'm sailing along, and because in the morning it was sort of maybe 8 to 10, and then dropped straight down as quick as it could to 0. So you had to change gears a fair bit, and everyone's re-chocking and doing this stuff, and I'm just going, I don't know what to do. And then downwind, do I have a lot of vang? Do I have no vang? Do I have my boom out past center? I had no clue, but had a couple of flashes, and
fantastic.
Yeah,
flashes of brilliance.
So give us how many boats? I
think there was I think it was something like 40, 41. So they had 6 Kiwis flew over. They had some South Aussies, some West Aussies. They had
Kiwis came over.
Yeah, a fleet of them came over. New South Wales, Victoria.
It's all about Saturday lunch.
For the Queensland, Queensland states.
Do you have the Moreton Bay bugs? I know you love some seafood.
It was all seafood. I ate nothing, but I had a few beers.
Had some chocolate.
Apart from got hives.
But super nice bunch of guys, and it was good fun. But when you get them trucking, they sort of feel like a keelboat. They just track. It wasn't that much wind, but there was a couple of times where they were just cruising.
A couple of times where it felt right.
Yeah. Here's the next one, boys. Tacking a fin. Tacking a fin. So they're for the normal sized human being. But so when you sail them, you need to be a normal sized human being. But when you tack, you need to be about the size of, Tom Thumb. You need to be like this tiny little compact human. Like, it's bizarre trying to get under those booms. And I did not get under it a lot. It was pretty ugly.
Right.
Did the old buoyancy vest get caught on the back of your neck a few times?
Yep.
Yep. That's a killer. Yep. That's annoying.
Yeah. And they do. I noticed there was, you're sailing downwind, and there's a bit of cheekiness going on. Like when they do it, I need to do a jibe. So they stand up to go and grab the sheet and drop the end of the boom in the water, and then give it a good tug, and then turn the boat into the jibe. And I'm just going, that's a bit cheeky, like there's a little bit of that stuff going on. But yeah.
All right. Now, everyone listening to the show is going, okay, yeah. Rant.
Right.
There was 40-something boats.
Yeah.
How did you go?
18th. So nothing special.
Well done. Well, that deserves a round of applause. One, and two.
Golf was clap.
Oh, Pierce excellence.
Don't tell me I'm not impressed.
Let's another round of applause for the Finn.
Yeah.
Current winner of Class of the Week.
Class of the Week,
and it still goes down as some of the best commentary I've ever heard one Jordan Spencer say when I logged into the World Sailing Champs once, and all I see is there's you don't get to say this often. There's a Finn sailed by a Finn going to the finish. Had a little chuckle to yourself.
Classic bit of commentary. 18th, Jay. Very, very proud of you. Well done.
Yeah. Absolutely. With all the stupidity that I did, but so
when we first asked you, I was expecting a 37th or a 38th.
Yeah,
I thought you'd be top 5, but You kind of disappointed me.
See, that's the beauty. That's why we work so well together, Barkarati. Because,
We're
different ends of the spectrum.
Bookending it.
Will not stand, man.
We're bookending it, to say the least. And with old Mr. Average here right in the middle. Perfect.
Yeah.
18th, I'd be very happy with that if I was you. First go. I'm sure you've got a little bit of a bug biting you on the ear right now.
Oh,
Love
yeah,
it.
trying to work out how to make it go fast. Yeah, no, it's good though. But I'm very grateful.
How'd your knee hold up?
Well, it's sore. Things are sore. But it's good. It was light winds. If it was windier, I think I would have been in real trouble.
Oh, yeah.
I would have been
that's right.
deep. But
That's okay.
I felt a bit guilty.
Nice, boys.
Well done.
Anyway, cool.
Cool.
Sailing's the winner. Our
Sailing's the
audience.
Sailing is always the winner.
That's it.
Yeah.
Very
Club
happy.
Well
Club
done,
of the week.
Sailing.
Class. We've just created 2 more segments this week.
2 or 3 new segments.
Club of the week and class of the week. And big news coming up next week, boys.
Mm.
We or do we not have a sponsor for Barkarati? That
We do.
is what I'm saying.
We do.
We do.
Just wait. Just
Or
wait.
do we? I don't know. Do we? Or maybe we don't.
Or do we not?
Maybe we don't.
Stand by, listener. Stand by.
Going pro. Come on, get that music on.
Getting up the guitar.
Every week.
Listeners, thanks for joining us. We love having you on. And we get some great messages from all around the world. And just keep sending them in. We love it. And hopefully if we do get a sponsor, we can go travelling.
Send them our way.
We'll use the money to go travelling.